folks, and welcome back to another Points of Interest Dronecast. Got a great show ahead of us, including an interview with Clinton Mooney with Mooney Visuals. We got some news stories. What you doing yours on?
Well, a few episodes ago, I talked about the Uzra Raptor,
right.
the DJI clone.
You got an update?
Yes, I have a big update.
Awesome. Now I'm going to talk about my trip to Greece and how that worked out with the drone.
Look at us. Yeah. Almost similar in time.
We're so dark. All right, all coming up right here on Points of Interest. Exploring the people, places, and technology in the growing drone industry. This is the Points of Interest Dronecast. So,
what?
Oh!
What do you got there?
You like that?
Oh my God.
Little update.
What happened to that TV from the 90s?
It was from the 90s. My old Sony. Well, we updated.
That is so nice. Who
Thank
made it for you?
Well, yeah, Cyril did that. Cyril, I've got some information on our Facebook about it, about him. But it's a good friend of mine, and he made that for us. Isn't that awesome?
Is what a vacuum form? What is it?
It's actually wood and then a coating over it, like a car finish, and painted like a car.
Oh, yeah.
It is kind of crazy. I mean, it feels like plastic, or it feels like metal almost, but it is all just carved out of wood and styrofoam.
I feel more legit now.
I know. We've stepped it up here on Points of Interest. Got a great show for you today. And boy, I can't wait to get to talking about my trip to Greece. We took a couple of weeks off and got to go to Greece, and we'll talk about that. But we got to get into our interview, because our interview today is really a special one. We're talking to a guy who's really a special guy. His name is Clinton Mooney, and he lives in Farmville. He owns Mooney Visuals, and he does real estate. He both sells real estate, and he does photography not only for himself but for other real estate agents. And he also got into drones for that reason. And great interview, and you got to look into it. He is a special guy. So let's rock.
Let's watch it.
So today we're here with Clinton Mooney. Clinton, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a real pleasure. I tell you, we met just a couple of weeks ago. What was the event you were at?
Casino night with the United Spinal Association.
Fantastic. Yeah. And of course, that brings us to the obvious uniqueness of your droning is that you have done this from a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. Tell me about that.
I mean, it's kind of like a whole new experience to be able to see from up above with the camera. I've been using cameras for a long time now. Actually, what got me into photography is the wheelchair itself. My mom took me to Richmond Camera and got me my first camera, a Canon Rebel. And I've been shooting, just having fun, taking mostly wildlife pictures, and got into real estate, and I figured I need to be able to offer my sellers something that maybe other agents don't do. And that's when I got my drone. So
how long have you been into real estate?
I've been in real estate. Will be the start of my 3rd year.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you're an agent, and you take the photography, or are you just a photographer for real estate?
So I'm an agent. I buy, sell all over the whole state of Virginia. I'm with Remax Advantage Plus here in Farmville. I mostly do raw land, and I think that's because of the drone, and like I shoot a lot with just raw land with the drones. But also agents do hire me to shoot their properties too, so it's kind of a win-win.
Sure. And then when did you add the drone to your photography business?
Portfolio. So it was right when COVID happened, because I got furloughed, and then I ended up getting my real estate license. And then while I was waiting for my license to get hung, I went ahead and I purchased the Mavic 3 and got my Part 107. And so they all started right at the same time. I think that was, 3 years ago, so 2021, I'm guessing. Yeah.
Right. So you started off with a Mavic 3.
Yeah, that one right there.
You started off with a Cadillac.
I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. You know, it's windy out here, and I was thinking as a business person, I'm going to have it on like a 3-year depreciation where, you know, at the time I think they're like 2,800 with the multiple batteries. So I mean, that'll pay for itself in 3 years. So and we're on year 3, and it's done pretty well. So
Absolutely, yeah, great drone. So, and I see you have an Avata as well.
yeah,
And tell me
tax
about
write-off.
that. Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Do you use that for interiors?
So I have used this for interiors flying in if it's a property with stairs. That's the main reason why I got it.
Right.
Is to fly for interiors and maybe do some cool, unique videos that come from the outside in. And if there's a pond on the property, I can put that in the video as well. So
Sure. So you combine the two different drones to give yourself all kinds of
I
options.
can, but this Avata it's like once I started flying that, I was like, wow,
Right,
it's
right.
amazing. It's fun to fly.
Sure. Now I've seen one of your videos. We're going to show the audience right now of the mansion. Tell me a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit about that.
So this is the Duntington Mansion. It's out here in Farmville. They were doing tours of the mansion. It's abandoned. It's a little run down. We're trying to find a way to restore the mansion. Actually, we had the foundation that it's a nonprofit has an opportunity to purchase it. So if you want to know more, check out their website, duntingtonmansion.org. But yeah, they were doing tours and that building wasn't accessible. So I kind of approached them like, hey, I would love to do a tour, but I mean, we got these steps. How do you feel about me flying my drone inside the mansion? And she called me, said, hey, you got an hour to come out and fly? I said, okay. And I went out there and yeah, I used all 3 batteries, and the last one is that video that is on my YouTube. So that was a lot of fun. And ever since then, I've gotten more opportunities to fly inside buildings. Another one was the Historical Museum in the town of Farmville. That was fun to fly through. So.
Right. And you did the furniture location.
Yeah,
here.
I've done Greenfront furniture.
Greenfront is huge, right?
Building 8 and 7, which we'll probably go out there and play. So you'll see it.
Awesome, awesome. So I would have to guess you're telling me the Avata is your favorite drone.
It's my favorite drone to fly. The Mavic is more for if you're going to get a drone to make money with. That one makes more sense to me with what I do.
Sure.
But I do see a lot of people using these FPVs to make money. So
Sure, sure.
yeah.
Now let's talk. In your situation, where you have a spinal injury,
T4 paraplegic.
okay, and tell us how that happened.
So back in 2009, I was a freshman at Longwood, and first time experiencing college. I did have a few drinks. I was a .08 BAC, but I was underage, so I mean, still that's a no-no. Right. And I didn't want to go home because I knew my dad was going to be up. And so I had my cousins with me, and we ended up attempting to go to their house and trying to avoid a deer. My truck got a little sideways, and I mean, it was one of those Blazers like you see I have collect them. It was jacked up, and it just flipped over, and it flipped about 8 times, and I got thrown, ejected out, and yeah, first time I ever broke a bone, and I ended up breaking my eye bone, my jaw, C2 on my neck, the T4, which bruised my spinal cord, 6 ribs, shattered my humerus. So it was a lot. Lacerated liver, collapsed lung, coma for a week.
All in all, you're lucky to be alive.
Yeah, I feel so bad for what I put my parents through, but yeah, I'm really lucky. So, and I think people look at me and say like, oh, you're an inspiration, and I think it's mostly because I hold myself accountable. So I mean, you can't stop. You got to keep going. So
Sure, sure. Now the drone, I have some mobility issues myself because of age and weight and things like that have created a lot of problems with my knees, and I can't move around like I used to. But I found that droning gave me wings.
yes.
And would you equate that for yourself?
I feel like a lot of people would be able to relate because, and from people that I've seen getting into the industry, and I always quote like, it's a whole new world, the magic carpet ride, because I mean it is really a whole new world and a new experience to be up there. You can see the storms rolling in, and then you pay more attention to like the times to fly, the golden hours, and really focus on what you want to capture, because it's not like carrying a camera out and you got a battery that can last 4 hours and you only get it from one perspective.
Right.
that you can get from any perspective, and you got to be smart with it because you only have a limited amount of time to be up in the air flying. So,
Sure.
got to do your research, and that's why having that Part 107 was helpful. But yeah, anybody with mobility issues, I would definitely say get into that, and also get into scuba diving because that's another cool.
You do that as well?
Yeah, so
Awesome.
that's a lot of fun. I'm working with a nonprofit who helps get mostly young youth. They take them down to the Cayman Islands, youth with disabilities, and we get them certified PADI scuba divers, and it's a really cool experience to see them come down there, and like some of them haven't learned to swim yet with their disability.
Sure.
And then they learn to swim and then learn to scuba dive, and just to see the progress that they make, it's really it's comparable to someone that like gets up in a drone and like, hey, this
Sure.
is I can make money with this, so
Sure. Another freeing type of unique experience.
man, really.
Yeah. So, and just as an inspiration to maybe veterans, and those kind of people, do you see that probably being an opportunity for them?
I definitely see like more companies that are trying to do like drone shipment. I feel like they would have more incentive to hire veterans, especially like coming back with an injury. So thank you to all our veterans. But yeah, I would see an uptick in if there's some type of pilot program, like once they get out of the military with a medical injury, like if there's something, maybe I Fly Drones can start like where they sort of get the people certified. And I don't know.
Ironically, I talked to the Veterans Center in Richmond, and they haven't hired me yet, and I've offered it for free. So we'll see how that goes.
People are trying to get it in the works already.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So let's talk about how do you handle picking up the drone or getting the drone once you go? Because for me, sometimes if I had to land in some bizarre place, I've actually crashed a drone and had to go retrieve it in the woods.
Oh gosh.
Have you ever had
I think
such?
You told me that story.
Yeah. Have you ever had such an experience?
Yeah. So early on, it's like really nerve-wracking, I think, because especially when I was taking this drone, it's my first drone I ever flew, and just knowing how much it cost, I was really nervous. And then I get a little bit more relaxed, but still like focusing on the rules. I don't want the FAA calling me for doing something stupid, so like I just make sure I stay safe, line of sight, everything's good to go. But there was one time where I was flying and it was a fireworks show, and I thought I was far enough away, but like one of the mortar shells just came and hit that drone, and it knocked it in a tree 36 feet up, and I had to get a guy with a box truck to pull it out. But I mean, I just fixed a blade and a gimbal, and it works fine. So
it looks unscratched.
yeah. I was really, really lucky for that.
Right. So when you launch and when you land, do you just land it beside yourself?
Yes. In a lot of instances, because I'm out in the field, like, the tall grass or something like that, shooting for real estate, I'll hand catch it a lot of times.
Right.
Just because I don't want to get dust in the propellers.
Sure. Now, what would you say would be thus far the highlight of your drone career?
Oh, goodness, the highlight. The mansion was definitely a big one. But really, any time I capture something and put it out there and people are all just, the comments, it's really supportive. Never do I get bad feedback from, even if the picture's blurry, people are still like, oh, that's cool, unique perspective. And so the feedback that I get is definitely the best. And the mansion really got a lot of feedback, for sure.
Yeah, it's like a viral video.
Yeah. It's almost one of my more popular ones, so.
Right,
yeah.
right. So what would be the future right now for Clinton?
The future, so I'm kind of on a 3-year plan where I was, like I said, buying this and doing the depreciation with the drones. As far as future goes, I think I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I enjoy it, but the main thing I really need to focus on is getting my website up. And once I get my website up, I want to be able to sell more prints and do more things with the wildlife photography. That's something that I really have enjoyed doing. I got some exciting news coming up in the future. I can't really share it, but yeah, I'm excited. I got an interview next week, so.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. You heard it first here
Oh,
on,
no.
on the broadcast. We don't know what it is, but we heard it first.
Yeah.
Teaser.
I wish I could give you a hint. They told me not to tell anybody.
Okay,
so.
well, we'll just have to wait,
Yeah,
and we'll announce it later.
Probably one of my proudest moments in my photography career.
Awesome.
Is the photo getting selected. So.
Awesome. So
yeah.
here's a bigger question. What do you see drones as the future in this, around the world?
Highly regulated, I feel,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a bad thing. I'm not too worried about it as long as I keep up with the rules.
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of get a little worried about it sometimes. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people utilizing it, so it's going to be less competitive if you are trying to get into droning as a business.
You can be more competitive.
Well, yeah, more competitive. That's right.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Right now, it's kind of, there's few pilots in this area.
Right.
But
it's going to get crowded.
it's going to get crowded.
It's easier to fly than it ever has been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we'll see more people trying to get into it. But I think really, the way I see it, the cream always rises to the top. And if you're a good pilot and you really take care of things, like it sounds like you're very safety conscious, maybe these other people will disappear, go by the wayside, and we won't have to worry.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's nice seeing other people enjoy it, so the more the merrier. I have a feeling it's going to get crowded up there in the sky. But.
Sure. Do you have any local friends here in the Farmville area that?
I've got a few that fly around here.
Uh-huh.
We don't really get together and fly, but I have a few people that are using these less expensive, under the weight drones, and they're learning, and that's kind of cool to see.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, listen, Clinton, it's been an absolute pleasure to come out here. We're going to go flying.
Yes, sir.
And check out things. But wonderful talking to you, and I wish you all the best. And we'll see you on the show again, right?
Yes, sir. Hey, I'd love to be back on.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
So that was Clinton, and a really nice guy. I mean, honestly, really just a super nice guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
We actually did lunch afterward. We went flying, as you saw in the video,
Beautiful.
together around that area. And what a very talented guy.
All within like less than 4 years, he's able to develop all that skill set.
Yeah, he has. He picked it up
Yeah.
and ran like a dog. He's got everything.
Yeah.
I mean, his photography stuff is off the hook, and we
He's
showed
ultra
that.
focus.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been flying drone for 15 years and I'm not that good. Maybe the fact that he lost one ability
And-
gives him more.
the ability to use his hand and
Yeah.
eye coordination
Exactly,
is
definitely good.
is very
I think
good.
it's a superpower.
It is. It's a superpower
Yeah.
for sure. It was really a lot of fun. I can't wait to get back with
We're
Clinton.
going to see great things out of this young man.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good.
Got to do a follow up in a few years.
Oh, even sooner than that.
Yeah,
'cause,
probably.
I got to just back to Farmville just to hang out with him because they've got great food there.
I need to go to.
We went to eat at a place
Yeah.
called the Fish and Pig, and it was
Fish and
some.
Pig.
It was some.
Surf and turf, kind of.
Oh, it was the best barbecue, and
yeah.
I had some like catfish. Awesome. Off
Virginia
the
style
hook.
barbecue
Yep.
or Carolina style?
I will be back, Clinton. We're going to go back out and eat some more.
He's taking me with him.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk too about the other thing. We took a couple weeks off. If you are a regular subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit the bell, ring the thing, do all that stuff, and subscribe to us because
Definitely.
we're trying to put out good content. And we need you to help us put out content. So put in questions.
Share it with friends.
Share it with friends. Yeah, absolutely. But we were off for a little bit, and it was good to have a little bit of a break.
Oh, yes, yes.
We've been rolling them out
I'm
once a
still
week.
working on my my history of drones.
Yep.
I'm halfway through.
We're expecting
So
great
just-
things with that coming up.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I got to be really thorough with my research because we do have some people that's fact checking us,
Yeah.
especially your daughter.
You better be. That's right. She'll find it. But
Yes.
I went to Greece with my
Oh,
wife.
man, I wish I was there.
And it was really just a vacation, but I got to take my drone, and I took the little baby, the 249 gram Mini 3.
Yes.
And of course, the first thing that happens is you got to figure out how to get unlocked, and we'll talk about that in our news stories today. But once I did, I was able to fly some of the most beautiful sights.
Seen it. It looks like a National Geographic photo. When you first sent it to me,
Sure.
I'm like, did he just download something from National Geographic and just send it over to me?
I took that.
The Acropolis. I didn't know you can fly that close to the Acropolis.
You know, I was very careful, just so you know. To be at the Acropolis is kind of like, being close to the origins of man, right?
Is there a restriction from taking a piece of stone from the Acropolis?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They beat you over the head or something if you tried to. But it is a beautiful space. And I didn't want to interrupt anybody. Like, I didn't want anybody to see me. So I literally, even though I got unlocked and I had all the authority
quiet drone you're
to
flying.
be there, I got up. I did a quick run outside. I never flew over the Acropolis. I stayed outside and just did a quick run around and then down. I was like literally not in the air 4 minutes, and it was hiding in an alleyway. Like, I hope they don't find me. And I had legit everything, but I just didn't want to be discovered as that guy, right?
I was waiting to hear in the news, like some American landed his micro drone on top of the Acropolis, crash and knocked the whole column down.
like
domino. That'd
domino
be hilarious.
effect. That would be funny. But it was an absolutely great vacation, not only to go see all these beautiful things, but to get to drone in another country. And we'll talk about that on their news stories.
Yeah, I could tell you my story later, too, about my trip to Cambodia and how I was kind of like dwarfed from flying in some nice area.
But you got to fly?
I got to, but it took like a lot of
that's the thing with the news story. We want to talk about exactly what it takes, because it's not just to go.
It's not using your iPhone recording a video.
No, you've got to do a few special things.
Yes.
So anyway, well, why don't we get into our news stories, and we'll start with you. So let's do this.
And so, remember a few episodes ago, maybe a month ago, I told you about DJI drone being in Congress, the Chinese drone ban.
Oh, of course, everybody's talking about that.
Oh yeah, now it's gotten more serious. More states are actually pushing it locally. So it might not be federal, but all the local states are pushing it. They worry about the Chinese drone, taking our data, sending to China. Ironically,
Still tell me how that works, because we have Google, we have everything
We
else.
have everything. But anyways, this Texas company, Uzra Robotics, they have the Raptor drones. That is exactly the clone of the DJI Mavic 3.
Except in the green color.
Except in the green color. The only difference is that it has the same electronics, but the firmware, they rewrite it so it doesn't send anything to China. So it just cleared. Uzra Robotic, the Raptor drone, just cleared the White Knight tests. The White Knight is a thorough test that they run to make sure that no data from the drone, telemetry or GPS data, is going to a Chinese network. So it stays remotely in the US. And the more I research it, the more I realize that if we're not going to have a DJI drone, I'm actually behind Uzra Robotic. But I just hope they change the color from green to something else.
I don't mind the green, but what will be strange is when you're flying it near a set of trees.
You can't find it.
Yeah, you won't be able to see it. So,
I think that's his purpose. It's just to be stealthy.
I guess so. But anyway.
The parts I did the research. The parts are compatible.
Totally compatible.
Totally compatible.
Yeah. So here's the other thing that you got to find out. Can we take our DJIs and go reprogram them?
It's I am leaning towards a 85% yes. The more research I do, the more happy I am. Well, there is a micro SD card inside the drone itself that can be rewritten.
Well,
then so I mean, all it requires is probably to Uzra to take our drone, and refirmware update it.
Well,
but again, whether they want to do
next
that or
week,
not,
I want you to call them.
I'm going to call them and find out.
Yeah.
I'll see
That's what I want.
But technically, it should be possible. It's exactly the same drone.
Sure.
Nothing different.
Cool. All right. Next week, I want to hear more.
All right.
So my news story is about going to Europe and flying, and this is that's besides the other stuff we talked about, like putting the batteries. We did that in the last episode.
Oh yeah.
Putting the batteries in the right things to take it. You got to take it on board with you. You can't put it in your stowaway luggage. It's got to be with you. And I took the smallest drone I could do because I was going to be running around all day long with a tour group, and I didn't want to have too much weight with me. I also had the Pocket 3, which was great. But I had to get unlocked, of course. So first thing I did was I registered myself with ESA, which, by the way, it's really funny because ESA stands for the European Union Aviation Safety Agency. But when you say it, it's
equivalent to the FAA.
Yeah, but where'd the U go? It's ESA, E-S-A.
Yeah.
EASA, but there's European Union, so they just dropped the U.
Yeah, for some
But anyway,
reason.
you can register with them. It's kind of cool. It's not too hard. You just go on their site. It's probably easier than logging on with the FAA.
Do you register only once?
You only have to register yourself once.
And
you can register multiple
10 years from now,
drones.
you go back and you're still good? With the same drone or just your ID?
Your ID would remain the same. You put your information all in there.
If you got a new drone, was still good?
Right. Now, if you want to fly in Greece, you have, here's the thing. You don't have to get any special authorization except for unlocking if you stay within 50 meters or about 150 feet. If you're going to fly past 150 feet, we know that's not very far, right? If you're going to go past 150 feet, you have to go to their website and ask for that additional authorization. So
and this is just for Greece alone, or is it pretty much every European country?
That's Greece's rules, okay, specifically to the state and the islands.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other thing, because these are all mostly historic areas, they are heavy tourist areas.
Yeah, they won't be blamed for.
All these things are geo-locked.
Oh, yeah,
right?
definitely.
So I have to go to FlySafe with DJI, go in there, do your normal routine, go find the location you're going to fly, tell them this is either you do the circle or the polygon and say, this is the space I want to fly in, I want to be unlocked for these hours, and then you have to pass them some kind of authorization. Well, what I did was I just offered them my ESA number, right? And I also, they want a reason, and I kind of fudged the reason, but in a way I really am coming through. I said I was shooting for a tour group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, when they see your video on Greece, they want to show up. They want to go to Greece. Like, I want to go now.
So I have shared it with the tour company. And so
that works.
In essence, I wasn't working professionally, but I was, in fact, gave them the excuse, and hopefully that helped them unlock me. And I got unlocked everywhere that I asked for, which was beautiful, and got to go. Of course, we see the Parthenon. We go to Santorini, which has all those blue domes and the huge city. And all of that elevation starts at about 1,000 feet over the sea level.
Wow.
Okay, because that whole thing is a volcanic island.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mykonos is another gorgeous place. I flew, I've got a video up on my YouTube site, too, of flying across that area, a little bay, and an area that they call Old Town.
Supposedly, that's the site of Atlantis.
Yeah, right. Right, and there's old windmills that are 500 years old. It's in the video.
Wow.
I flew right around those, and the water is so clear as you go over it and look down.
And blue.
You can see to the bottom because there's no industry out there. And these islands are hundreds of miles in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the ocean, and so it's just crystal clear, like the Caribbean.
That's beautiful.
Gorgeous stuff. So enjoyed sharing that with everybody. And if you have any questions about that, there's some good videos on YouTube already about getting yourself registered with ESA. So check those out.
Very nice.
Okay.
I'm very impressed. I love all the videos you've showing us.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to put some more up soon. I'm going to do one on the Acropolis by itself, what I shot.
You know what? You should do just a side episode just of your videos.
I don't think anybody would be that interested.
I would.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, it's almost time for Prak's Tips. I love that graphic. Don't you love that graphic?
Oh, yeah.
It's Prak's Tips. What's up today?
Okay, Gary. I have, you came to me, or you called me when you got back from Greece, and you had this problem with your micro SD card. And the more I researched the micro SD issue, the more I realized that it is the most fragile memory card. So the majority of people I talk to, especially in forensic science, who actually deal with drones, is to keep the micro SD inside the drone, hardly ever eject it, if you have to, eject it very carefully and make sure there's no static. It is paper thin. And as you can see here, you can see, even though you do not see physically a fracture, this X-ray video photo can show there's a fracture right over here in the line. And that can pretty much destroy your micro SD.
And that's what happened. You know, I shot some great stuff with my Pocket 3, the DJI product.
Yep.
Pocket 3. And
Yes.
I have probably lost, unless you can recover it.
I can try.
Okay. I probably lost some of the best footage that I shot with a handheld.
Yes.
Because that thing is gorgeous. It's beautiful, 4K,
Yeah.
stable. You walk around, it's only the size of it's less the
Yeah.
size of my phone,
Yeah.
but it stopped working.
There's a way to plug your micro SD. I mean, your camera should have a USB-C connection to your computer. Treat it as a
As an input.
connection, yes,
Right.
input device. Do not eject unless you have to.
Okay.
Everyone I talk to, and if you do it carefully, and then have a static-proof sleeve. Because just one little static can wipe everything out.
So interesting. And I was
Yeah.
probably at the least likely place to run into static. I was on Delos, which is an island that is just an archaeological dig.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing there. There's literally nothing
But if
there.
you're wearing wool, or you're just brushing your hair,
You know what? There were a bunch of cats.
that might be it.
Yeah.
That might be the problem.
The cats could have
Cats
had
can do static.
electricity.
Yes. Static will wipe. See, old hard drive,
That is absolutely a real possibility because I did touch the cats.
it can transfer static to you. You eject the SD card,
Bam.
just a little spark,
And I
wipe
wrote-
everything out.
It's all the cat's fault.
It's a cat. Never trust.
Okay, well,
Well, that's my tip.
That's a great tip, and you
Yeah.
got to be careful with those things because everything you do, whether
Yes.
you're on the drone
Yeah.
or a camera,
Yeah.
that SD card
Oh, yeah.
is your life.
Don't
It's
wait.
your work.
Don't wait to get your data out of it. Get it as soon as possible.
Right.
And do not get one more than 250 gigabytes because you find the larger the size, the more fragile.
So I'll give
the
you
memory
a little
transfer.
tip that I do. I have smaller cards. I mean, I literally have like 64s.
Yes.
And when I go fly something,
Yes.
come down to change batteries, I change my SD card too.
shouldn't.
Because
Yeah.
then if I lose the drone,
Yeah.
I still got the footage.
Well, if you
Right.
do it very carefully.
Yeah, I hear what you're
Eject
saying.
the tip of your fingernail,
Right.
eject it slowly, and pull it out.
But I was always trying
Yeah.
to make sure that if the drone disappeared,
Yeah.
the footage was still good.
You know how we push the SD card in? At an angle all the time.
Yeah.
We never push it straight on.
You're right. You're
It's
right.
fragile. It's
very
like,
hard to-
think of a Dorito chip.
They need to start making them out of titanium or
They
something.
should.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it. Listen, before we get into our next show coming up,
Yep.
I want to tell you about, first of all, again, thanks to Clinton Mooney for the interview. Really
yeah.
great stuff. We got a great interview coming up. I've already interviewed this guy out of California. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but Chris Teal. Chris won the $1 million GoPro challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He is probably the best drone FPV guy in the world. I mean,
Yeah,
according to
he's
GoPro,
developing
he is.
something amazing.
Yeah, and he's got his own channel. He's hilariously funny on his channel. He builds drones. We're going to talk to him next week on our show, and you're going to love
Yeah.
what he's doing. He's amazing and a very cool cat. So that's coming up next week. We'll have more Prak tips next week.
Oh, yes, and I will find an answer for whether we can reverse upgrade the DJI to match the Azu's specs.
Azu.
Azu.
I like that name.
Azu Raptor.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, that's going to do it for our show this week. Thanks a lot, and
Keep flying.
fly safe.
Right on.
Oh, you're here for drones, not my beard.